It's my first time tapping the gavel. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first meeting in a really long time of City and Community. Very happy to have you here. I'm not used to chairing a committee, so I'm going to mess this up a couple of times, and we're all going to just say it's okay. Let's see. Everybody should have an agenda in front of them. Yes. I hope you all have one.
Does everybody have one?
If not, Bob, would you like to share mine?
Bob, I
We're
have
good.
one. Bob.
All right. Cool.
We're good.
We're good. All right. Moving on. Right before we popped on to your local television station, am I looking in that one? Hey. We were talking about, we've got a meeting with the city council coming up in June.
Attendance.
Oh, I've got to take attendance?
Yes.
Attendance.
I told you I'm going to mess this up frequently. Okay, so we've got myself, Chair, Liz Boucher.
Here.
Barb Higgins.
Nope.
I'm not on the committee.
You're not on the committee?
You're on the committee.
She was last year.
Policy,
Yeah.
Jess and me.
building.
Jess Campbell
Here, thank you.
and Mr. Cotton.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Also in attendance are Kara Meeker, Barb Higgins, Jim Richards, Pam Walsh, Brenda Hastings. Brenda, you were on the committee last year too, weren't you? Yeah, this is why I just assume you all are on the committee this year.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience, everyone. We're faking it till we make it. Before we popped on to the official meeting, we had a brief discussion that we had originally planned a meeting with the city council for June 7th. That date is wiggling a little bit because we have several members that were not able to be available for that date. So we're going to be working on coming up with a new one. So TBD. Yes, Pam.
The mayor had asked to include Merrimack School District.
I would love
in
that.
that meeting as well, just so they will be invited.
Yeah, Merrimack
Valley.
Valley.
Sorry.
Let's. I'll reach out to a couple of folks there. Or
I think
the
they're
district
doing.
will.
It's under control.
Love that. Less work for me. All right. I would love to have MV there. It's the same city, different school district.
Do you want to talk about some items that you'd like as we create an agenda?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna move on to.
Oh, great.
Thank you, Superintendent. I can imagine the usual suspects will be a part of that conversation. Memorial Field, Runlet, very general, scope of,
Crosswalks.
Oh, crosswalks, yep, that's definitely gonna be in there. I just think an overview of expected projects would probably be wise for each of us to present, both bodies to say, this is what we're looking at on the horizon, this is what our needs are, especially from the school district standpoint. It might be nice to share, here are the things we have to do.
We have a capital improvement plan, a 10-year capital improvement plan. Would that be helpful?
Absolutely.
And then I can talk to Tom and see if they can have their capital improvement.
That would be really
And
nice.
then we at least share that information with each other.
Yeah, see where we align, see where we might be in conflict.
Okay.
Just kind of get everybody on the same wavelength. That would be wonderful. I don't know, what do folks want to talk about? Kara?
I was just going to say, I was going to try to find the email. Our Ward 7 city councilor had asked the city manager as well for, as it pertains to the middle school, we have the water and sewer issues that are coming up. We know those were on prior budget lists for the city at some point, so we just maybe want to get an idea of where those are in the hopper.
Yeah.
And also just make sure that they understand what our expectations are for the middle school project.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm just taking notes as well. Great, thanks, Kara. Anybody else have anything pressing that they'd like to include on that agenda?
Would this be where we would add the meetings that people are having with their board members?
Yeah, of course. I
Individually?
think there would be a continuation of that conversation. I know folks have been meeting already, and if they want to meet up until then, but maybe that becomes something more established or expected for the wards. So yeah,
Okay.
great suggestion, Brenda.
That'll probably take us, we usually do
entire
about,
time.
yeah, we usually, we
I know,
usually
we're very
start early,
ambitious.
and so people can get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And we'll have coffee, we do it here, and I'll have coffee and some little treat, whatever,
Cool.
morning
Thank you.
donuts or
Would that
whatever.
be a time to talk about
potential uses for the Rutland property, or do we want to hold off on?
I think that's gonna essentially be guided by that neighborhood in particular. I don't know.
Well, we decided that we would do 2 meetings. That was what we talked about, right, Sarah? Wasn't it at least 2?
Yeah, we wanna do 2 a
So we
year.
would do one in the fall, and by then that committee may have started and had
Kathleen,
some-
can I ask you to pull your mic toward you?
Oh, I can hear my.
I know,
in the
but
back.
we can hear
Echoes.
each other, but we do have friends with us today, so I just want to make sure they can hear.
Yeah, we'll, I think if we give them a little time, Barb, to get settled and get their heads around that topic and then be able to share that with the city, I think that would be great.
Although I do think the city has right of first refusal.
They do
So
on a
we
lot
should
of
let them know.
Right, right.
FYI.
They do
Yeah.
on all of your
So,
holdings.
The other thing is I would suggest if we are going to invite Merrimack Valley, that we have a little bit of discussion. There's been a lot of discussion of why don't we just combine with Merrimack Valley and everything will be solved.
Hashtag one city, one district.
Hashtag having to deal with all those other little towns.
Oh,
out
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
So I would like just a little discussion of how it came about that Pennacook became a separate part from the city. This goes back many years, and I would like a little discussion about what it would take to actually recombine with Merrimack Valley so that citizens actually know how that happens or could happen and what the impediments are to making that happen. So,
Okay. I think I know some folks that can answer those questions.
yeah,
Sure.
I mean, I think it can be answered, but it hasn't been answered to the public yet. So,
That's a great idea. That's come up quite a bit. That's a great idea.
Can you kind of sum that in what could be a good agenda item? How do you want to?
and you might want to run that by Merrimack Valley,
yeah.
because like you're putting
Yeah.
the people from Merrimack Valley who don't all live in Concord, and the superintendent from Merrimack Valley who doesn't represent just Pennacook.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just trying to explore though
Yeah.
why we're inviting Merrimack Valley.
well,
If,
because it's a joint with the city, and the
yeah,
city has
I got
both.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only suggestion is that we have a
Yeah.
little bit of a history lesson, and I'm not sure who would give that.
Yes.
I'm not suggesting that we get into talking about, okay, let's do it. It's more a question of what would
Why
have to
things are
happen.
the way they
Yeah,
are.
I haven't found anyone who knows the full history other than anecdotal, right?
No, my grandmother graduated from Pennacook. So it was a lot like Manchester has several high
Yeah.
schools. That was sort of how it was back then. Anyone that wasn't in Pennacook didn't go to Pennacook High School, so Loudon kids came to Concord,
Yeah.
you know, that. So it was more like that initially, and then.
But there was a vote back 30 years ago, or more than
More
30
than
years
that,
ago.
to have
To have a
make
separate district.
When SAU started forming, so towns used to have these little individual school districts. When did you start working in public education? In New Hampshire.
Not that long
So,
ago.
there weren't these SAUs that combined communities. It was locals had your K through 8 schools, and then you found a high school for your students. And so there was a big consolidation effort throughout the state to get small towns together and combine them and have regional high schools. So that's sort of how the MV thing, it followed along that. So you looked at like Loudon and Boscawen and Pennacook and Webster and Salisbury and all that, those communities that were all interspersed, and, you know, nobody wanted to go to Franklin, so like Andover trucks all the way to MV.
But you could have maybe the superintendent could prepare something on the legal process for dismantling an SAU, because it's pretty complicated.
very
You wouldn't have to
complicated.
dismantle the SAU, you could make alterations, so we're.
Or to change
a part
an
of it.
SAU.
Yeah.
You need,
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a whole
This
process.
feels like a bigger conversation.
yeah, so.
Really
It is a
does.
bigger conversation, but if we could just explain to people
Yeah.
that it's not just bringing Pennacook into Concord, it's,
I think
you gotta
there's-
remember, Boscawen.
Yeah, right.
All the other towns, and they all have to have meetings, and they all have to
Mm-hmm.
agree to do it, and if they don't agree to do it, it's not gonna be easy, and by the way,
School choice will make this all
who's
interesting.
gonna pay for their high school all of a sudden that they have to build, little things like that.
I think the big question that we're trying to answer that I hear from the public all the time is, how is it that Pennacook residents pay municipal taxes in Concord, but they have a different school district tax? And I
'Cause they're
think being
yeah.
able to answer that question will be helpful for folks.
Well, that's just, they're a different SAU, so,
They're in a different school district.
They're in a different
right,
school.
so their taxes are with their SAU.
Yes,
Right.
I know that.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
that's, there's no other answer, though.
But as to what Bob was saying, why is it that we have a regional high
Right,
school
right.
within the city
City
proper,
limits, yeah.
you know?
My point is there have been a number of people who have brought forward the fact, well, just bring in, Merrimack Valley High School, and
Yeah, I was
we
one of them.
we got no problems.
Learned to be a lot of
It's
friends.
not quite that easy.
Right. No, obviously.
So, people need to know why that's not quite so easy, that's all.
So do we think it's feasible to have like a quickie little history
Yeah, I'm
lesson?
just sitting here
Kathleen?
thinking about how we might do that and do it in a way that doesn't take up the whole meeting, because
Yeah.
that's a history.
It's a
but-
sticky wicket.
But I will,
Sure.
no, I'll talk to some folks and see if we can come up with some model.
And maybe that meeting's not the right place to do it. Maybe there should be another meeting that we could invite Merrimack Valley to.
Right, and again, we're gonna meet again with the city in the fall, because we determined that we would do it twice a year, so, we can put that on the agenda. Let's see what I find, and we'll go from there.
We have a very full agenda at this point
Yeah.
for an hour and a half with folks, but I'm really grateful you brought it up, Bob. Thank you. Do we feel good about what we have for this first bullet point for meeting with the city council? We feel good? Okay, cool.
The only other thing I would suggest is that we maybe ought to ask the city what they want to bring up.
Oh, yeah.
What? No.
Yeah,
And Merrimack Valley.
Yeah.
we'll
Maybe
reach
Merrimack
out to the city manager
I can
and
imagine
talk to
that
him
they will
and to the
probably,
mayor.
Yeah, I think they will feel similarly, that it would feel good for everybody to say what kind of projects that they have, what expectations they have. Just a level setting meeting would be very nice, I think, for everybody. I can imagine they'll feel similarly. All right, let's talk about upcoming community events. The farmers market is going to be starting outdoors pretty soon. The Honorable Jonathan Weinberg carried that on his back the entire time that he had his term here. He had the flexibility to do so. I don't have the expectation that folks are going to have the same bandwidth that Jonathan had for being present, but wanted to offer it up to the city council. I've done it. It's a really great place to just meet people and talk and be more available. I think being in public is as often as we can. We've all agreed that that would be ideal. So once the farmers market schedule becomes more available, or at least it starts in May usually, doesn't it?
Yeah, first weekend in May.
I don't know where it stands. We used to just set up a tent on the sidewalk. You don't need a permit to do that.
Right.
Just a tent and a table and some swag, stuff about CRTC, information about the school, and just standing there. And, Jim did it a bunch of times. I think everybody did it a handful of times. Is that something folks are interested in continuing?
Where does the equipment live now?
Some
Here
closet around
here
here.
at the office.
Oh, okay.
All the swag and the tablecloth and the tables and the little tent, so we can have that all for you.
I mean, maybe not with the frequency, just because children's sports don't allow.
That's true. Family life doesn't always allow you to be downtown, but that's certainly something that I can put together like a spreadsheet if that's helpful, and then folks can just pick the weekends that they know they'll be able to be there in the summer, and if you want to jump on with somebody, do buddy system might make it fun. But I can put something together so folks can identify what weekends, what Saturdays they'd like to be there. Does that sound helpful?
That would be great.
If you
Okay.
need me to lead that too, I don't mind at all. I don't mind leading that either. If you want me to take that on, I don't mind doing farmer's market and getting signups and just running with it for the year.
Jess, you better be careful what you wish for.
No,
If you
but
want
like-
delegation, I'm giving it to
No,
you.
I'll take that on because I
Great.
live right there. I live right here. That's
Okay.
fine.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
my friend. That's very generous. I'm putting that in the notes. To head farmer's market. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You are very generous with your time and energy. Multicultural Festival, huge success last year, I must say. We doing it again?
Great.
Yeah?
Definitely.
I know we had a table with the city, so hopefully we'll be able to partner up on that. I don't know when signups start. I'll talk to Jess Livingston and make sure that
Do we
get
know
a
when it is
spot.
yet?
It's September 22nd
Okay.
from 11 to 4. It's always a glorious day in September. It's one of my favorite
Yeah, that's
days
Keach Park.
in
That's
Concord is the
August.
Multicultural Festival. So if folks need to, throw that in your calendar now. It would be really cool to have all of us there, at least in shifts.
We need
know,
to make
but-
sure that somebody fills out the application for the event too, and I think there's a small fee that goes with it, so, we'll cover that in the office, so
Okay,
just let
great.
us know.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that for sure.
Yeah.
It's something I really want to be a part of, so.
It's a Sunday?
Yep.
It's a great event.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think the idea of shifts is a good one. I know several of us, like, I volunteer for the festival elsewhere.
Yeah, you do.
And so I didn't know if the table was covered at any particular time.
Yeah, it would be good to have shifts, just
yeah.
like blocks of 2 hours at a time. If you want to take more, if you want to be there for the duration, that's great, but we want to be respectful of people's time too. That sounds good, thanks.
In conjunction with the Multicultural Festival, we always have Welcoming Week as well. And I know a lot of schools in Concord participated last year. They did a fantastic job. I know Kara and I worked on Movie in the Park one night, so I'll throw out some ideas and maybe that we as a board can do something for Welcoming Week. Either hold
That's
up
a
a
cool
sign
idea.
saying all are welcome here, or just our own little mottos, maybe write something in about why everyone's welcome in our district. So I'll come up with ideas for that to get involved that week as well. Free, easy stuff. I should, but I don't.
That's okay.
Usually it's a week leading up, but last year it was off a little bit, so yeah.
We'll find out.
Yep.
Yeah,
We got that.
awesome. Thanks, Jess, for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah.
Moving right along, downtown market days. Last year, we did not have a table, correct? But folks, yeah, Kara.
I volunteer for market days. So last year, at the last minute, Bangor Savings Bank sponsored a community chalk art piece right outside the Capitol.
Right.
But they didn't necessarily want to man the booth the whole time. And so they were looking for another organization to partner with them to basically hang out at the booth, hand out chalk, give guidance. And we had a few board members volunteer to take that effort on. They would love to have us back this year.
Let's do it.
That way we don't have to pay for a booth.
That's
staff
an easy
the
way to do
booth,
it.
all that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I love
And it's
that.
kid oriented.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
For the kids
and it was a lot of
families,
fun. The kids had a lot of fun.
2 years ago, there was a bunch of high school students, I feel like, who volunteered for
Right,
market days, and our market day booth was not a big draw. It was, so I didn't feel, but like if it's something active like that, that'd be great, and maybe some of the high school kids would want to do that again.
Yeah, I mean, they asked me to ask you if you'd be willing to do 2 people at a time,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
2-hour shifts on Thursday and Friday.
Do we
Yeah.
know the dates for that yet?
The 20th.
20th
and
to the 22nd.
21st. Yeah, so Thursday the 20th, Friday the 21st.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
they're not gonna turn you away if you also show up on Saturday.
Did you have
20 to
information
22nd.
about the district at the table, or was that not
We had
appropriate?
A little bit,
You had a little,
but
okay.
certainly it didn't need to be
Yeah,
overwhelming. But I would say wear your name tags, make it clear you're from the district. There's a lot of kids and families that are coming from outside. This is a regional thing, so you're probably not going to hit, like, every family isn't going to be someone you want to talk to, about the stuff, the matters of our district. But it's just nice to connect with kids and families in that way. I do believe we had CRTC literature out there, and that was nice. People
That's
liked
great.
having that because people always want to learn about CRTC. So I would say just a small bundle would be sufficient, and then really you just show up.
School calendars are always a great thing then too, for the next year.
Google calendars, and this year chairs. I believe
Yeah.
we did not have chairs.
Yeah,
this
it was-
last
Bring
year.
your lawn
little
chairs. Yeah,
Sorry about
Couple
that.
hours
So
in.
yes, bring your yard, your full of chairs.
awesome. Hey, Kara, thank you very much for having your finger on the pulse of
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Really appreciate it. And thank you for volunteering for market days.
For Bangor?
I have her contact. Do you want me to send it to you? Or you can just do it through me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the planning committee for Market Days, so I can just bring it to the planning committee.
The best.
Yeah,
Love
that was a fun event last year.
Yeah, looking forward to it again. Are there any other events that folks participate in that they think we should be present at?
We have our back to school night.
Yeah, we'll continue to have, the Keach Park night, that's,
Yeah.
and you all were there and helped serve food, and it's a great night, right? We'll fill you in on that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sarah, do you mind if I give a plug for the CAP Unity program?
Ooh, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So board members likely received an email from Meredith Cooley inviting you, and I think she invited city councilors as well. There's a pilot program happening right now at the city community center. It's opening the doors of the community center on the weekends for free unstructured play, both in the gym and an art room. And it's giving especially a lot of our new American communities an opportunity to have their kids in a safe place to play on the weekends. I am also a volunteer for that. So it's, from my perspective, just anecdotally, a wonderful success. The kids are happy. There's snacks, there's art. They come, it's a 3-hour window, and oftentimes they'll come for that entire 3-hour window. What is different about this that maybe the city needs to learn a little bit more about, and Parks needs to wrap their heads around, is that it is unsupervised. So the kids can come in and out as they please, sort of like an old school community center thing where you just kind of drop in and do what you want. So there's big learning curves, but this directly affects the students in our district and what they're spending their time on the weekends. So Meredith had put out an invitation. There's 2 more weekends before the pilot program ends. This weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then 27th, 28th is the final weekend. Because that was such an open invitation, I wanted to see if anybody wants to go together or to just like pair up.
What time of day on Saturday?
2 to 5 on Saturdays or 3 to 6 on Sundays.
This is up in the Heights.
And it's at the community center at the Heights. And so, it might feel a little intimidating just to kind of like randomly pop by. So if there's somebody that wants to pair up and go together, I believe the local media has been invited to join specifically for the 28th, because there's also a pizza party because it's the last day.
Oh, I love that.
So if you want to get it, that will likely be a very fun day.
And who sponsored this?
This is something that was proposed by an organization called Friends of Keach Park, and it's a pilot program with the Parks Department. They got funding from the city to do so.
Right, okay.
I might be able to go on the 28th.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can.
Jim.
I might have to do this weekend. I'll let you know.
Okay, I'll be there.
Cool. Thank you. Great. Thanks, Kara.
Do you know if that is in conjunction at all with the library up there is also very active on Saturdays. Is it in conjunction with that? Or?
It is a separate program. There are other things happening at the community center at the same time.
Got it.
This one is more. Oh no! I just talk so much I killed them.
That's exactly.
Thank you.
Never a dull moment around here.
I know, right? And that's it.
That's it. Cool. Thanks, Kara. I appreciate you. I guess that any other cool ideas and things that are going on that folks are, you can always bring it up later. No pressure.
Do we want to touch on the question that Brenda had about the ward meetings? Do we want to discuss more about the ward meetings?
I mean, sure, if folks want to.
Do you want to take that one?
Can we like get through the rest of the agenda first and we'll consider that other business?
Sure.
Does that sound good? Just to like try and stay on track? So if, as far as like other public meetings outside of the district, if you find anything and you're really interested in participating in that and you want to open it up to board members, please let us know. Does that sound good? Yep. All right, great. Let's see. Number 4, role of the committee on the middle school project. We're city and community. We talk about communication with the city at large. We do have a communications director. That is a part of our district now, thank goodness. I think she's doing a great job. This is more of an open question of, does this committee have any kind of role in the communication strategy for the Runlet project? I guess I'm just kind of like opening that up for discussion. Do we think it's necessary? Is it something we think this committee even has bandwidth for?
I think every board member has responsibility.
Agreed,
in
yeah.
Yeah, you know, I don't know that this committee is the direct line to the city on
Right.
the project. You know, we've invited the city in to sit, but I think at the joint meeting, that's definitely a time to have some discussions with counselors there as well. But I think the whole board.
My inclination is that it's more a overall board role than just
city
our
and
committee.
Yeah.
So I defer to the whole board as opposed to us trying to take some kind of a lead or something.
I appreciate that.
My only thought is that it would be great if we had maybe somebody on this committee to work with me as we set these up.
Oh,
You know, and have review the agenda, and I don't mean it to be an agenda, but you have a presentation, you want to make sure it's not too long, then the questions that, help frame up some questions so we know how to answer those questions. I mean, they want to hear from you, not from me necessarily or the architects, right? So it would be nice for me to work with somebody to prepare that event, that session, that Q&A, whatever we want to call it. We've called it about 5 different things now. But I think that would be helpful.
Okay. I'm happy to be the default, obviously.
I'm happy to do that too.
You're happy to do that too? I mean, that would be helpful if we put our 2 heads together on it, like.
Yeah, and then
hello.
could just come over to the office if you had, half an hour or so, and we could
Yeah.
just get, I just want it to be prepared so that everybody knows how to handle the questions and what to do. And Bob's right, I mean, it is something that you all are engaged in. I mean, it's your project.
Just to clarify, from my understanding, you're talking specifically about the Q&A session?
Yes, I am.
At the end of June?
Yeah,
that we're
yes,
hoping
I
to
am.
have, or
Yes, I am.
whatever date we choose?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
And by the way, it won't be the last one.
No.
As
Right,
the
okay.
project continues to develop, then you're going to want to continue to have these sessions where the folks from the community can come in and have an opportunity to ask questions, and you answer them, right? You give them, it's not like a hearing where you're just listening to what they have to say. This is a little different.
Awesome. Well, and then that also trickles into the ward meetings that
Sure.
we've been having, because we are able to answer questions that's specific.
And, if you're ever at a ward meeting and you have questions that are proposed to you, you don't necessarily know, and we can help you with getting that answer, whether it's connecting with the architect or perhaps it's something that we have in the office. So, if there's ever a question that comes up, don't hesitate to, shoot us an email or whatever.
Right. Well, of course, but that also gives us an opportunity for each one of us to address specific wards with questions. So it's another Q&A opportunity to answer any questions about the middle school.
Yeah. I did, Leadership Concord had their education day recently, actually. Counselor Brown was there as well. It's a great group of people every time, but I got a chance to hear from a lot of folks, a lot of Concord community members, answer a bunch of questions, so, we're gonna have those questions no matter where we go.
Yeah.
Ward meeting or not. I think, that makes a good transition into ward meeting conversations. Do folks wanna chat about that? Do we feel like we're good on the other things? Middle school project stuff? Okay, cool. Let's talk board meetings. Would you guys mind recapping sort of how the planning went into it? How you sort of facilitated the event, just to give folks a better idea who maybe aren't familiar with what y'all are doing?
Yeah. Liz, do you want to start?
You went first. You were talking
I had the
about-
first ward meeting.
You were talking about
So initially, Jim Schlosser, who is the Ward 7 counselor, newly elected, he reached out to me to ask if I would be willing and happy to co-host a community meeting that he had set up for his constituents. The idea being that each meeting that he held, he would have someone of interest alongside him. So it's not necessarily a board city meeting in perpetuity. It was a meeting that he wanted to have, specific themes at each particular meeting. So, for instance, the meeting that we had, a lot of issues around the homeless encampments in the city came up. So it'll be likely that he'll now have a town meeting with, somebody from the Concord Coalition Against Homelessness or to end homelessness. I always get that wrong. So I had said yes, understandably knowing that it would likely be topical in my ward to talk about the middle school. So we restricted it to 90 minutes. We had norms to kind of keep things moving. We spent about, I would say, 45 minutes to an hour talking about board-related things, and then we spent the rest of the time talking about city-related things. I think overall it went really well. And then Liz had one the following week. So do you want to talk about that?
Yes, and so Councilor Brown approached me saying Ward 7 was having one. Would we like to have one? I thought it was a fantastic idea, so of course. We didn't set any expectations for future or, Councilor Brown didn't say anything specifically about having others, but I think I would love to host another with her in the future. So if it's quarterly or something, or if we brought guest speakers in, that would be fun too. Ours was much smaller. It was about 15 people. We did take minutes. We had a separate person who was scribing for us. We did bring a microphone if need be, not knowing how many people might be there.
Where did you have it?
Good question. We had it at the Women's Club. We rented the space there, and so it was a little cozier. I think we did set some norms. We had a poster board, set some norms there. I think everyone was very respectful, and we had great conversation, good questions. They were very diverse, including, which also I want to talk about, is bringing back the bike bus, walking bus in Ward 5 specifically. So there was a lot more conversation from families there on other topics, but. I think we took minutes, and so if anyone would like to read those minutes, we have those as well, and we look forward to doing it again.
So Sarah, would you be interested in doing this in Ward 10 with Councilwoman Foote and I?
Yeah, sure. And I mean, I'm thinking I'll reach out to Ali Siku and ask him if he wants to do Ward 8.
Okay.
I know he'll be very enthusiastic about doing that. And who represents Ward 9?
Chris Schultz.
Oh, it's Chris Schultz. That's right. Chris and I are friends. That'll be very easy to do. So if you want to do both of those with us too.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, awesome. I'll send out some emails. You are already in conversation with Councilman Foote?
I am, yes.
Okay, great. I'm happy to sort of hop onto that dialogue, and I can establish the other two.
That would be great, thank you.
Awesome.
I do want to say, though, while people enjoyed it and I enjoyed it, I don't want to feel like all board members from all wards or the at-large members should feel pressured into hosting a meeting if they do not want to. I don't think this is like a board agreement that we're making. It's just an individual's preference on how they want to communicate with their constituents. Because I certainly don't want somebody from the public being like, well, Kara did one, so Sarah has to do one. So, I just want to make sure that this is something that this is just another avenue for communication.
Yeah.
And while it's, something that I enjoyed, if it's something you would not enjoy, I don't think there should be pressure.
And as long as people understand that when we're there, we are not representing the board, we're
Correct.
representing ourselves.
Yes. And that was my opening statement, was like, it's just me.
Right.
I can speak from what I can speak to. I will say Jack Dunn was at both of our meetings. He's
Nice.
a Ward 7 resident. He and I made clear at the beginning of the meeting that I would not direct any questions to him because it's not a back and forth with the district. It's an opportunity for board members to talk about what's important to them. So he did not participate.
Good deal. Also, it's like best practice. If we can put ourselves in front of people and we have the bandwidth to do it, we should be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. And also no pressure.
No
Folks
pressure.
don't have to do it. Any other business that folks would like to bring forward, like to chat about? Pam?
I think during our retreat, one of the things we talked about for this committee is maybe bringing in the PTOs in. And I just wanted to flag that if you're gonna do that, you probably only have a month or two left before
I know,
they go
right?
away this summer.
Yeah.
So, but it might be interesting to hear from them on items of concern or
Just so
interest for
happens.
them.
We have a direct line to them sitting right next to me.
Well, what we have done is we've
Mm-hmm.
updated the PTO board lists.
Yep.
Like for communication, so we have done something.
Brilliant.
You do a lot of things. You're
Thank you.
You do so much.
Yeah. You are
That
great,
needed
deeply
updating. That
appreciated.
needed updating, so.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I understand that like this is extra on people to come to committee meetings, to do extra things. Everybody's got families and full-time jobs and they're volunteering and all that other stuff. But it would be good for us to just send an invitation to welcome them to come in and just,
And also, I think, reach out to say if any of the PTOs would like us to come to a meeting. Don't necessarily have to
That's a
speak,
good
but
idea.
just to attend a
Yeah,
meeting.
that's a great idea.
yeah.
I did reach out to Abbott Downing in my ward to attend their meeting, so introduce myself there. We did have some of us got together from all the different PTOs and PTAs in the district to introduce ourselves
Nice.
at a time, so that's never been done before. And so it was nice to hear from other executive members of the other PTO and PTAs of what's going on, and that's where the third grade dictionary.
Oh my God, Arbor loves hers so much. She reads it every night before bed. It's the best
So
thing. It's
how
awesome.
can we collaborate with other PTO and PTAs, I think is really
Yeah.
what we could benefit from is
Great. Would
encouraging
you
that
have
communication.
the bandwidth to get me that list of information?
Yes,
or
I do.
contact info?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Fran.
But I think they're also a great source of just like, I think
What's happening on the ground?
Yeah.
we changed our volunteer policy based on the feedback we were getting from the schools, and and from the PTO and things like that. So I think having that
Yeah.
there is helpful.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, Pam. Thank you very much. We'll loop in those folks. Wonderful. Any other business?
Yeah, just you have a city and community relations meeting on May 20th, if you wanna, that would be your next meeting, and if that's maybe an evening that might be okay for PTAs to come over and sit and chat with you.
Awesome.
Great.
That is very timely. Thank you, Kathleen. Cool. Do I need
A motion to
a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn? Who would like to make that motion? Kara, did you just volunteer?
I'm not on this committee.
Somebody on the
I'll
make a
I move we adjourn.
Okay,
Thank
I
you,
second.
Bob. Thank you, Liz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Fantastic. This meeting's
Any discussion?
really, really.